Let me pull the curtain back here a little bit today on this video. Um, this is my, I think, third try in getting this right. That's not normal for me. Usually I can get something put together, get an outline, and just go record. But this one's tough for me. My son Alex moved across the country a few weeks ago for his dream job. And I've been walking around my own house ever since feeling something that I didn't really expect to feel quite this strongly. So I want to talk about it because I think it's the exact same thing that I kept asking you to do with your company. And then nobody really tells you what it costs. So let me tell you what it costs by telling you about Alex. When Alex was 3 years old, he told me in as much sincerity as a 3-year-old can work up that he wanted to work for Disney. Now, most kids that age may want to work for Disney or be an astronaut on Monday and a firefighter on Thursday and then maybe a grizzly bear on Thursday afternoon. Alex said Disney, and then he spent the next 2 decades quietly building his whole life around that goal. And I really mean building it. In middle school, he was already mapping out which high school classes he would need. He took 12 AP courses in high school. He chose a college degree specifically because it fit the way that Disney actually runs. And then he killed it in college and graduated. He reverse engineered a childhood dream into a plan, one very deliberate step at a time, while the rest of us just kind of stood back, proud and a little bit amazed. He's been like this his entire life. When he was 9, I sat in the back of his classroom one afternoon and I watched the entire room quietly orbit him. And it's not because he was the loudest kid or the pushiest. It was just that everybody always seemed to know exactly where Alex was. And the engine under all of that is one question that he just can't stop asking about anything that he doesn't see as working right. Here's the question. Why is that the case? Most people hear things like that's just how it's done and they let it go. But Alex never could. He'd go find a better way. I don't want you to think that any of this came easy because that's actually the part that probably matters the most. He applied to a lot of Disney internships during college and got told many times that he wasn't the right fit. He told me once that the heartbreak that he felt didn't even cover it. Nearly 20 years of focus felt in that moment like it wasn't working. But he kept going. He outprepared every other candidate in the room. He'd study the people that he was going to meet with or interview with. He'd read the company's financial filings in detail. And he'd walk in with questions built for each person by name. And it worked. He's now started in the job that he's been aiming at since before he could read, doing the exact thing that he named out loud when he was 3 years old. Here's the part that's hardest for me to say out loud. Of all of my kids, Alex is the one who has never needed me to open a door for him. And believe me, it wasn't because I didn't try. I mean, I'm his dad, right? I tried to find connections that I could make, advantages that I could hand to him. And he redirected me every single time, gently and respectfully. And it wasn't out of pride because it wasn't because he didn't love me or was grateful that I was offering. He just understood something before I understood it. He didn't want a path that he inherited. He wanted one that he built. He knew somehow that the kind of ownership that actually means something can't be handed to you. You have to choose it. I learned that from my own son. He didn't wait for access. He created his own relevance. He built qualifications that made the opportunities come looking for him. And the whole time, the most loving thing I could possibly do was just step back and let it be entirely his. Because if I'd pushed those doors open, his success would have been partly mine. And he wanted it correctly to be all his. And so I did. I did the thing that you're supposed to do. I raised a person who doesn't need me. And it worked. All the way. Now, I want all of my kids to fly. I want them to succeed. And then they do. And mostly, they fly away from you. The day that Alex and his super amazing wife, Liv, drove away from our home, the sheer joy and abject sorrow caught in my throat at the very same time. Because I knew that if he reached his career goals, and remember, he always finds a way to reach them, he will never live in the same state that I live in again. And I am so proud of him. And I am so wrecked that he is gone. Nobody warns you about this part. That if you do the job right, it ends in a goodbye. That's the entire point of all that love. It was to build somebody strong enough to walk out the door and go. And then you have to actually let them. For most of my life, being needed felt like being loved. If my people needed me, if my kids needed me, then I mattered. Alex, more than anyone I've ever been around, taught me that the deeper love is the other one. It's the love that builds a person up on purpose, precisely so that they can leave and not look back. And then you stand in the driveway, aching and grinning like a fool as you watch them drive away. I'm telling you this on a business blog for a reason, because it's the same muscle. It's the exact same muscle. Everything I ask you to do with your company, everything those sessions are built around, come down to this. Stop being the one it can't run without. Build the capability into your people instead of hoarding it inside yourself. When I say it about a business, that sounds like strategy. When it's your son and a moving truck, it feels like something else entirely. But it's the exact same truth. Here's the part that's actually hope, not grief. The ache is proof that it worked. A company that still needs you for every little thing will never give you this feeling because it never grows up and leaves. Neither does a kid that you kept small to keep close to you. You only ever get to feel this particular ache if you were brave enough to build for their strength instead of your own comfort. It's the tax on doing the right thing, and that tax is worth every cent. The goal was never to be needed. It was to build something or someone that could stand on its own 2 feet and go be great without you holding it up. That's not failing. That's you doing the most important thing that there is, all the way to the hard, beautiful end of it. And I'd choose it again every single time. Even knowing about the quiet house, even knowing how much the good version of this hurts. And I think once you feel it in your business the way I'm feeling it in my family right now, you'd choose it too. And that's the whole thing that I want for you.